It looks like you haven't set up iMessage yet.
We're back. We miss you, good people. I'm Corey Holmes, and of course, you know I'm here with Brandon Marshall, and I got Ashley Nicole Moss with me. Man, we really missed y'all. You know, I know it was a decent amount of time we had off and whatnot, but we're back and we rolling. B. Marshall, how you feeling?
Hey, do that again. We're back, bro. That was so creepy.
You said that was
Like how
creepy?
you did that.
Nah, man,
Oh.
we're back. Come on, now.
Oh my goodness, that was so creepy. That's how we coming back.
Should I come back like screaming? Should I have been like, yo, we're back? What's up? We're back.
No, that was good. Listen, tell me about this Dubai trip.
Man.
You know, you went over there and you were feeling yourself. You know, I don't want to start anything, coming straight back to the show, but it seemed like you was on your light skin stuff.
No. I wasn't on no light skin stuff. It was a good time, though. I tell you that. Like, Dubai, of course, going into the trip, I was just, expecting to be amazed, but it was just nothing short of amazing. I tell you that. It was just, it was like a city that was just super peaceful, right? It was one thing that stood out. No sirens. I ain't see one police officer when I was there. Everybody was in Dubai just wanting to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what, Dubai is about, providing for the people. And it was great food. What
was your favorite part?
Was good. I'd say my favorite part, which and some of my followers and some of my friends would be like, that was your favorite part? But it was definitely going out into the desert. Like, that was what I was really looking forward to the most, honestly, going out there. So, yeah, we went out to the desert. But, yo, I tell you what, there's something that they call dune bashing, where they pack you into like a not a pickup truck, but like a SUV. They deflate the tires, and then they just start driving crazy on the sand.
Oh, I didn't enjoy that. I did that. I didn't enjoy that. You enjoyed that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was fun being out in the desert, but I'm telling you, by the end of that car ride, I almost about fainted, yo. Like, cause I get car sick. Like, anyone who knows me, I get car sick, and I didn't know it was gonna be that intense. Like, that was ridiculous. But
I feel like that's the trick, though, because when I went over there, I'm thinking I'm gonna have this dope experience in the dunes.
Mm-hmm.
And we jumped in that little Toyota 4x4.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And they was just driving crazy. It's like, nah, this ain't the experience I want. Y'all might as well slow down. Y'all trying to flip the truck. Y'all trying to do too much.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, yo.
Just let me get my picture.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm about to be in the newspaper, man. The car gonna flip over this sand dune, go to tumbling. Like, it was crazy. But I tell you what, those dudes are expert drivers. They know what they doing, though. Because I guess they do that on a daily basis. Dune bashing. Yeah. Those guys are legit. But yeah, man, it was a good break. What'd you do over the break? I know you were like snowboarding and whatnot, right?
Okay, yeah. I kind of forgot. Yeah, it started with when you guys were in Mexico and Dubai. I was in Aspen. There was an event, Culture Shifters, where a bunch of us got together and we just painted the mountain different colors. Man, we came, added some diversity. It was awesome. You guys know I love snowboarding. Burton and Red Bull, so many other brands came together to really just create some diversity. So I was able to go up there and see some dope snowboarders do some amazing tricks. It was pretty cool. The whole vibe was good. We took over in a hotel. We had a DJ come in, and it was just a dope vibe. And then from there, I think we went to Houston, and from Houston to New York, New York to LA, from LA to Vegas.
Yeah, you was there.
I've been all over the place, bro. Now I'm still in Vegas. So I'm sitting here at the Wynn Hotel at Blue Wire Studios. This is sick. I wish you guys can experience this. As soon as you walk in the door, it feels like you're in some futuristic type studio for podcasting and different dope shows. So this is pretty cool. So I'm in the Wynn right now. I was thinking about going back to LA tonight. But I may stay another day or two, man. I like the Blue Wire Studios.
Love, huh? Yeah. Oh, well, hey, Ashley Nicole Moss, she's here with us now,
Hi,
too.
guys.
And she had like a little trip, right? Where'd you go? You went to Cabo, right?
I was in Cabo, yeah.
How was that? You got to tell us how Cabo was.
It could have been a little bit better. I wasn't feeling the greatest. And as you guys know, I ended up being out for a while with the flu. I'm still in recovery mode, but Cabo was beautiful. It was definitely a different scene than I'm used to in Mexico. I've only been to the East Coast of Mexico, so like Cancun, Tulum. Yeah. But Cabo is very mountainous, and really? I saw a whale for the first time, which was very cool.
That's tough.
The scenes were really beautiful. I went out there for my one of my best friends' 30th birthday, Melvin Gordon. He celebrated his 30th, and we did a little trip out there, and it was fun. I wish that I was feeling a little bit better while I was out there, so I could have really enjoyed it in its totality. But I'm glad I got to experience it in some capacity.
So you were sick while you were there? I thought you were sick when you came back.
No, so I started feeling like a little weird in Cabo, but I have allergies, so I figure, when I travel, especially like long distances and change like climates, sometimes my allergies like will act up, and then I take my pill, and then like the next day I'm fine. Good, so I kind of like chalked it up to that. But it just kept getting worse. Right. So, and then when on that plane coming back from Cabo on Sunday, I'm not somebody who like loses their composure very easily. Mm-hmm. I try to like stay calm and like leveled like very like often. Right.
Hold on, time out. Sorry to cut you off. What did you say? You're not somebody that
No, like it takes me a lot to get to like that point. Like if I get to that point, it's because like I've reached like the point of no return. I'm not somebody who just goes from like 0 to 100 very quickly like that. Like
you sure about that?
100%. Like if I get there, it's because I've reached like a breaking point.
So that doesn't sound like a New Yorker. That sounds like every
No, like I've worked very hard like in my 20s to like master that. Yeah. I'm still constantly working on that. But on Sunday, like on that plane, my flight was delayed coming into Miami because there was like thunderstorms here. When I tell you I had a full blown panic attack on that plane, like I was in tears. Like I felt like every single symptom like hit me at once. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you, like I was on the phone with my mom, like I really thought I was gonna die on that plane. Oh Lord! Like I couldn't breathe. I had a full blown panic attack. I was like, "Get me off this plane! I'm gonna die!" Like it was really, really bad. Like I've never been that sick in my life. Like it was bad.
It? So what caused it, Ashley? Sorry, I didn't know you were going here with it. I was just making fun of you, but I apologize.
No, you're fine. We can laugh about it now.
The symptoms is what caused the panic attack?
So like Sunday, it's like everything kind of like hit. If I was at like a 12 and if I was at like a 5 in Cabo, it hit like a 12 once I got on that plane. Sheesh. And my chest closed up and I had no voice.
Yeah, the altitude,
And like I could not breathe, and I was freaking out like I thought I was going to die. Like I couldn't breathe. I was so congested. Like I was on that plane freaking out, and I really thought like I was like near death. Like it was not. It wasn't a fun time. Yeah.
So Ashley, is there any type of advice you can give to anyone that may deal with anxiety? Like what do you do in those situations to kind of get back down to baseline to calm yourself?
For real.
Is there anything that works for you?
For me, it's my mom. Like I called her and she like talked me down, and she suffers from panic attacks too, so she like knew exactly how to like bring me down. Breathing exercises like really help also. If you are somebody who does meditation and things like that, like mastering your breathing is something that I'm still trying to work on. Once you can master your breathing, they say like you can really overcome any situation. Like it's actually like if you read the science behind it, it's actually really fascinating. Once you master like your breathing, it just affects your entire body. So but I had to call my mom, like, because the breathing wasn't working, like me trying to focus on other things wasn't working. Like I was on that plane, like I'm not a crier. Like y'all know I'm not a crier. I'm not a highly emotional person. I was on that plane in my Celine sunglasses, bawling my eyes out. Like I thought I was going to die. Like it was scary.
Did anybody try to help?
Nobody tried to help me, Brandon. I had this man next to me in first class, and he just stared at me.
Was he?
His wife stared at me, and I'm like, damn, can somebody hold my hand, ask me if I'm okay? Like, Jesus.
You see what happens when you take trips without us? See, now you know, don't take trips without me and Corey. But I wanna add to this, right? Because this is a big thing. It's common. A lot of us don't even know what a panic attack is, what anxiety is. It affects so many people. You mentioned something. You said, I felt like I was going to die, right? And that's what people feel. They can't tell the difference between a heart attack and a panic attack, right? And so that's why it's important for us to have these type of conversations. It's important for us to understand the signs and symptoms so we can then be able to help, right? Because one of the things that I was taught, our foundation used to travel around teaching mental health first aid. And, you know, I was dealing with this for like 5 years as far as like in the space, but not understanding what anxiety was. And one of the tools that you pick up in this training is the first thing you tell someone that may be dealing with this is that, hey, you're okay. You're not going to die, right? The second thing you do is start working on the breath, right? You know, let's count, let's breathe. There's different tools. You mentioned a few of them that you can get, you can start implementing to control the breathing and control the situation. But the number one thing is understanding that you're not going to die. But the biggest thing is like, yo, we have to understand that, you know, this stuff is real. It affects all of us. If it isn't us, it's our children, which means it still touches us. It could be a neighbor, it could be a friend, it could be a loved one. Really quick story. Right after I did this training, and we were probably 5 to 6 years into our nonprofit work, and we implemented mental health first aid. I'm playing for the Seattle Seahawks. There was a gentleman, we're in the preseason. There was a gentleman that was working on a contract, and he was dealing with some, you know, coming back from injury. There was a lot going on, but the biggest thing was like, yo, I got to get this contract done because this is going to change the course of my life, my kids, right? And that's why like I'm so passionate when we talk about, you know, getting deals done for our players standing up for themselves. You know, you got guys like Saquon Barkley, you got Lamar Jackson still out there. I truly believe this. If the deal isn't right, I wouldn't play, because one play could change the course of your career. We've seen it so many times where guys go out there and they don't have guaranteed money, or they're not already locked in, and then they tear their ACL or they have a big injury and they never see that contract again, that type of contract that they were negotiating. So anyways, we're sitting here and pregame, all these coaches come in here like, yo, this, you know, what's his name is such and such is struggling right now. This kid was literally in the shower and he wouldn't come out, just crying, and he didn't understand what was going on. And so I realized what was happening, and we were able to kind of like help a little bit. He ended up making it through that situation, didn't play the game. Then after the game, we're traveling back. Before we get on the plane, he has another panic attack, right? And it's just important for us to know the signs and symptoms when it comes to anxiety or, you know, even, you know, suicide ideation. It touches so many people. So I appreciate you, Ashley, for sharing that story.
Yeah,
that's
especially
really
because
bold of you and strong.
That's
yeah,
the first time that's ever happened to me. Like that's the first time that has ever happened to me in my life. Like I've never, I've had like anxiety at like, you know, when you're waiting for your bag to come off the carousel, you check your bag and you don't see it, you're like, oh my God, they lost my luggage, here we go. I gotta wait. Like stuff like that, you get like slight anxiety or like before a big interview or like whatever, you get like normal nerves. I have never had a full-blown panic attack where like my chest was caving in and like I was in tears and I really thought like, okay, this is it. Like I'm gonna die on this plane. Like this is it. So for people who struggle with that on a regular basis, I can only imagine what that feels like, because even the small taste that I had was one of the scariest was one of the scariest experiences of my life. I have never felt like that before.
Well, I'm
so
certainly glad you
I had, Corey, I don't know if you've ever dealt with this. I had a panic attack in the pandemic. That was my first one, my only one. And I just got hit with coronavirus, and I was in isolation for a week or so. And, you know, I just woke up and I'm thinking like, man, I can't breathe. And all I kept thinking about was I have to go to a hospital. They're going to put the, what is it called? The ventilator on, and I'm not going to be able to be in control. I'm not going to, you know, a lot of people don't come out of that. And I just went into this full blown panic attack. Anyways, it's like 1, 2 in the morning, and I had to just get out the house. I'm literally walking down the street in shorts, no underwear on, no
Oh my
socks,
God,
no
he was going
shoes.
commando.
No underwear.
Yeah, I'm just like, I gotta breathe, but I can understand. Remember, you see this at times, right? Remember Martin Lawrence was walking down the highway with like no clothes on. You know, you hear about some prominent men and women, you know, of course we hear those stories because they're public figures, but it touches everybody. But we've heard these stories before where people do weird things, or it seems to be weird, but there's underlying issues that we just don't know about. So I was thankful that I was behind a gated community and it was 1, 2 in the morning, but I'm walking down, ass hanging out.
Oh my God.
I was just trying to think of when I might have had like a panic attack, and that's interesting you brought up that story, Brandon, because I think the one time I might have came close was actually when I got COVID. So that was in 2020. Woke up in the middle of the night, and like, I had that feeling of like my chest caving. Of course, that was a symptom of COVID. But yeah, I was like, I can't breathe right now. And then of course, you don't have your taste and whatnot. So
so
I'm
like
thinking that's something that's never going to come back. So those things were going through my mind, and I think I might have came close to a panic
flu
attack.
that I had was equivalent to what people felt who got COVID before the vaccines came out. So like I got COVID twice, but I was vaccinated both times. So I had a very mild, not mild, but I think I cleared it in like 5 days, maybe 7 tops. But the flu that I just came off of was like 12 days. And that's the equivalent of what people who caught COVID before the vaccine. And anybody who had COVID before the vaccines, like I know how you feel now. That was,
me?
Oh my God. It was no joke. Like it was no joke. So.
Well, all right, guys, how about we get into the show? We got a good show for the people. So this week, right, the NFL draft is finally here. And what we're going to do each day leading up to the draft is actually analyze a few teams and then, go over what their needs are heading into day one. Today, we're going to start with the NFC North and the NFC South and the NBA playoffs, right? They've been nothing short of entertaining. So we have a few storylines we'll dive into there. But first, we got to start with what was the fight of the year. Right, and Brandon, you had the pleasure of actually being there. I'm literally getting hyped thinking about it because I just the whole weekend I've just been watching replays of one, that knockdown that Tank had on Ryan Garcia, and then of course the shot that that ended him. So yeah, we're gonna start with the word on the tweet, and for that we have a couple tweets from the I Am Athlete page, which of course detailed all that had went down and whatnot. Right, so Tank, if you don't know, ended Ryan Garcia in the 7th round via TKO. He hit him with a body shot, sent him to the ground, wasn't able to finish, right? And then actually, which was even crazier, was that Brandon and both Brandon and Gervonta Davis called it, right? They said either 7th or 8th round, he's going down. We got a clip of Brandon, from it might have been a couple months ago, Brandon, when you had
a couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago when you interviewed
Tank.
LA
wanted to face off.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's take a look at it real quick.
So sitting here with Tank, I'm gonna be real quick here. We call this content on the go, champ.
Okay.
All right. So number one, I'm getting into betting, and I'm gonna put the house on you because I've talked a lot about the trauma and the pain. You got more to pull from, and that's what it's gonna take. So I'm betting 100,000 with you. What's the prediction? So
okay, they're good. Coming in. Okay, one, two, left.
7th or 8th round.
Oh, I said knockout in the 7th. That's what I said. Okay, bet.
Brandon, man, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go down 7th or 8th, and it was exactly what happened. So, how was the atmosphere there? Like, how was the energy in that stadium, in that arena?
Wait, before he answers that, can I tell you a funny story about Brandon being at the fight?
Go ahead.
So, well, one, I don't know crap about boxing, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm like this boxing aficionado. I watch it for fun, but I always bet on Tank because I just figure, listen, his hands are like a lethal weapon. I feel like it's the safe bet. But my agent at WME reps Ryan Garcia, and he was at the fight, and I get a text in my deathbed. I'm like laying there like, can't even breathe. And I get a text from him, and he goes, your boy Brandon Marshall is sitting right in front of me at the Tank and Ryan Garcia fight. And I'm like dosed up on all these different drugs, and I'm like, what the hell? What? Double back, and I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense now. So my agent saw Brandon living his best life in Vegas. So
I thought you were going to say he had a tough time with us because it was myself. It was a
whole squad of y'all.
Diggs.
Yeah,
your boy, your Cowboys, Parsons. There was D-Jack.
Yeah, he told me
Ray
it
Lewis.
was a whole NFL reunion there. It was a whole squad.
I thought he was going to say like he had a problem seeing over us because we kept standing up.
Probably.
Usually that happens. That's where a lot of fights happen at matches. Is people standing up, and you hear people sit down. Everybody want to see the action and stand up, so it's a whole thing. But look, It was an amazing atmosphere. If you haven't gone to a boxing match, you should. To me, it's the greatest show out there. It's better than watching any live football games, any live basketball games, horse racing. It doesn't matter. Nothing is better to me than going to a boxing event when there's two, A-side type fighters, two, stars going head to head. And if you're fortunate to see a heavyweight fight, it's even better because every punch thrown feels like someone could potentially die in the ring. I had the opportunity to go across the pond to London and watch Anthony Joshua and Klitschko fight. And I looked at that. I'm sitting ringside with Steven Espinoza, the president of Showtime Sports. And I was like, I don't even know if this is enjoyable. Like, these dudes are literally about to die in the ring. What I love about the atmosphere, Corey and Ashley, is everyone comes, they're suited and booted. Like, I like the tradition of boxing. Like, I want to wear a suit. Like, I didn't get suited and booted on this one because Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia bring out a certain type of crowd. But I like the sophistication around boxing. A lot of people wouldn't even think that, right? It's like sophistication. Boxing dudes is trying to take their heads off. But it's a beautiful event. It's super dope. And they lived up to the hype. Now, Corey, I don't think it was the best fight of the year, but it was the biggest fight of the year, right? There's been some brutal fights this year, some big-time knockouts. But it definitely was the biggest because there was so much on the line. Right. Yeah. You got to understand, there's no Floyd Mayweather. Even the heavyweights, Tyson Fury, he can't even come back into the States right now. Anthony Joshua has been knocked down 2-3 times over the last 2-3 years, right? So there's Wilder. What's going to happen with Wilder? Can he get his career back on track? He fought against Fury and the outcome wasn't great for him. So who is the face of boxing? Ryan Garcia. Young, big flash, can he potentially be the guy that ride it out for the next 10 years? And then you got Gervonta Tank Davis that's like walking into his prime, and whoever won this fight was going to be the face of boxing. Whoever won this fight was going to be the one that's getting those $30-40 million paychecks. It's going to be the A side. Gervonta Tank Davis is the A side. Gervonta Tank Davis now is the face of boxing. Now, he has his work cut out for him because who's waiting for him right now? Yep. You have Devin Haney. Yep. You have Shakur Stevenson. Exactly. You have some big dogs that's ready. So boxing is about to get exciting. And I saw something different in Tank's eyes. We've had Tank twice for previous fights in his camps. He was able to come down. He trained at House of Athlete, and my conversation with him, and we had this. Me, Ocho, sat down with him on I Am Athlete right there in the studio. And we talked to him about being a pro. I was like, yo, study the Drew Breeses of the world, the Peyton Mannings of the world, the Tom Brady's of the world, the LeBron James of the world. How are they taking care of their bodies? How are they being pros? That was the only question for Tank. Can he morph into a true pro? Can he stay out of trouble? And, it's been a little bumpy, but man, these last 12 weeks, dude morphed into something different. Like, even check out him now. He's not celebrating this win. He's not on his stories reposting all of his knockouts. Look how Izzy approached the UFC, right? When he had his big knockout, his big comeback. Look at most boxers, and they're retweeting and reposting everybody. Tank is like, I'm supposed to be here. What I see is Tank locked in, and he's already on to the next fight. He understands this moment. It was super dope. We saw some cool people, and again, I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, but like, I am the champ when it comes to betting right now. I bet 100,000 on Izzy. We hit. Nobody thought Izzy was going to do it. This is a dude that he fought 3 times in kickboxing, MMA, and now this is his 3rd fight, and he won by knockout. And now I go out there again. I take those same winnings. Right. I take my same winnings, Ashley, and I put it on Tank. This was a big deal. And I didn't say he was going to get knocked out in the 7th, 8th. Tank Davis said that. Gervonta said that. And he stood on that. I didn't bet that he would fall in the 7th and 8th. I just bet the money line. Okay. Right. And so I'm feeling good. I'm also here. And I got to stop talking about money. Just people know I walk around with cashier's checks. I walk around with debit cards. So I don't have any cash. I'm not a flashy guy. So just because I'm making these big bets, don't try to rob me. Don't take anything from me. But I also was able to win some, some big money in blackjacks last night.
Oh, did you?
I sat down with $5,000. I'm not going to tell everybody what I won. Ashley, I sat down with $5,000, and I sat for literally 17 minutes.
That's very specific.
17 minutes. 17, and when I say big bag, big bag, big bag. So I'm feeling really good right now, sitting here in the Blue Wire studios.
You should.
I one time won $1,000 playing roulette on my birthday.
Oh.
My first time ever playing a real casino game. Like I played slots before, but when I went to the Bahamas for my birthday, I played roulette and I kept betting on 13 black. My birthday is the 13th of January. And it kept hitting. Okay. And I was like, oh, shoot, like I'm actually winning. Like I'm actually doing this. And then you know how it works. I remember from the casino, like this is the lucky table. And then my juju was gone. But I put down like $5 and I made $1,000 back. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
That's the way to do it.
Ashley, just imagine. See, I'm glad. That's cool. What I always tell people. Understand your budget. Bet what you can bet. Bet what you can afford to lose, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the key.
So I'm proud of you for sticking to like $5.
No, I just did $5 because I didn't know what I was doing.
I know, but I'm glad that you didn't go out there. I mean, you're rich. Okay. You could have went out there and put down $300.
I would have. Next time I'm gonna go a little bit. Now that I understand the concept, I'm gonna go a little higher.
Scary money.
Okay, but here's the key. The longer you sit at the table,
right,
the bigger you're going to lose.
Right.
And the chances of you losing increases. So once you hit, go. Even if you're on a bad streak, you got to know when to get up.
Right.
If you lose 6, 7, 8 hands in a row, get your ass up and go.
Facts.
If you hit, then go. Yeah. That's the problem, because eventually you give your money back.
Yep.
They were so hot at me last night. So I'm talking about 17 minutes. As soon as I hit, boom, 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 double down, double down, double down. I said, all right, I'll cash out. They looking at me like, what? The casino was hot. They try to do all the tricks too. So they'll switch out the dealers, right?
Yeah.
Like if you whooping one dealer's butt, then they'll come bring out, okay, sorry, Mr. Marshall, here's another one coming. They try to play all to play all the little tricks.
Yeah, they trying to get you. All right, now before we move on to the next topic, who you think Tank fights next? Is it Shakur Stevenson or is it Devin Haney? Who do you think he has next?
I think it's Devin Haney. Really? And Devin Haney has a big fight coming up in, I think, 28 days, 29 days. He gets past him. Who's he fighting? Can anybody help me here? He's fighting I
know, I wish I knew the name.
It's a legend. Who's Haney fighting, guys?
Let's see.
Lomachenko. He's fighting Lomachenko. This is a big deal. Lomachenko has a lot of experience. He's a monster.
Yeah, he does.
If Haney gets through him, then I believe the next fight is going to be Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis, and then it's going to be Shakur.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So this is going to be tough, these next 2 to 3 fights.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. All right, moving on. This next guy that we're going to talk about, he's kind of been in the headlines, I'd say, for like the last week or so. But last week he made the headlines because he poked the bear. And the man I'm referring to, of course, is Dillon Brooks. He
ain't poked the bear. He punched the bear in his nuts.
Yeah, and he paid for it.
He tried to take the bear's nuts. Go.
He definitely paid for it. So, yeah, with this next tweet, we got a tweet from Clutch Points, right? So, yeah, and what it includes is the quote from Dillon Brooks. But I'm actually have you guys listen to Dillon Brooks say it himself. So let's take a look at it.
You say you've been dealing with this for the past few years. What is this? What do you mean by that?
The media making me a villain, the fans making me a villain, and then that just creates a whole different persona on me. So now you think I intended to hit LeBron James in the nuts. I'm playing basketball, a basketball player. So if I intended, and that's whatever is in the Flagrant 2 category of having a Flagrant 2, and you think I did that means you think I'm that type of person. And that's why I don't rate Mark Taylor at all.
So, yeah. So these were Dillon Brooks' words after Game 3 when he got ejected. So it was after Game 2, of course, when he was talking this trash to LeBron James, and it was a highly anticipated Game 3, of course. You know, we wanted to see what Dillon Brooks was going to do. Well, he shot 3 for 13. I'm not sure how many points he finished with and got ejected after like 18 minutes. Ashley, what's your thoughts on this whole situation?
Dillon Brooks is the epitome of, y'all ever hear that saying, don't let your mouth write a check your ass can't cash? Mm-hmm. That's the epitome of what he is. Or, you throw a grenade and then you hide your hands like, oh my God, who did that? Dillon Brooks wanted to be this guy. He wanted to be the villain. He wanted to be the guy who throws jabs at everybody and riles people up, from LeBron to Carmelo to this team to that team. He wanted to be this guy. So now you're this guy, and now you're crying about being this guy, and now you want to go ahead and make it seem like the media made you this guy. You made yourself this guy. So while it may be easy to go ahead and point the finger, who he should really be pointing the finger at is the person looking at himself in the mirror. And the worst kind of villain is the villain who's a self-appointed villain. If you look at some of the biggest villains in the history of sports, they were deemed villains by the general public or by their peers. Kevin Durant was made a villain by the media. He didn't just wake up one day and say, you know what? I'm going to start throwing jabs and darts at people, and I'm going to go ahead and be this bad boy persona and this villain persona. Draymond Green's no different. This is who they are, and they own it, and they live in it, and they play through it. And if you want to be that guy, then be that guy. But don't be that guy when it's convenient and then cry about it when it backfires on you. You took a shot at LeBron James, which is what's the saying in The Wire? If you aim for the king, you better not miss. And you missed. And you missed, Dillon. You took a shot at the wrong guy. He called your bluff. You looked stupid, and now you want to boo-hoo and cry and hide and in the corner, tail between your legs, and start copping pleas. It doesn't work like that. That's what you signed up for. This is what you wanted. You got what you wanted. Stand in it. I don't have any sympathy for him. Sorry.
So listen, Ashley, this is what I would say. I respect Dillon Brooks taking his shot. What I don't respect is the same thing you don't respect. Don't throw the rocks and then hide your hand, okay? There's a couple ways athletes can burst onto the scene. Your play, and then your flair, okay? Now, play, if you're a baller, if you're a Kevin Durant, LeBron James, that sells everything for you. But then there's guys that come along, right, like the Richard Shermans of the world, and I'm going to the football side, I'm more familiar over there. The Richard Shermans, even Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey, his talk was bigger than his play the first year or so, and then his play really, he always was a baller when he came in, even Richard Sherman. But look at what they did. And then you had the same corner down in Carolina. He's going to crush me because I forgot his name. But it was the same play. It's the same thing. Yeah. When you do that, and then you back it up in the biggest moments, now everybody's talking about you, and now you're on the scene. So Dillon's had a nice little run over the last couple of months, right? With
barely?
The outfit. He has with the outfits.
The outfits don't count, Brandon. Like
everything counts.
No, it doesn't. Like he runs his mouth like he's a perennial all-star. You haven't done anything. So like you can cosplay as like Stone Cold Steve Austin all you want. Like, you haven't done anything. You haven't won. You don't have any All-Stars. You don't have any MVPs. Last time I checked, nobody was even checking for you a year ago, 2 years ago. So, like, you do all of this because you want to make a name for yourself as the villain, which is fine, but then you don't back it up, and then you want to cry when someone calls your bluff. Like, get out of here.
So what's the difference? Can't we put him and Pat Bev in the same category?
No, right? Because you know what? I can give Pat Bev a little bit more credit because Pat Bev will go out there and he'll compete. And he's been in this league longer. That's it, yeah. And
so you don't think, but Dillon Brooks is one of the best defenders in the game, though.
Dillon Brooks does more of this than he does productivity on the court.
I agree with you there, and I want to say this as well, right? Like I still respect someone taking their shot, and as an athlete, there was times in my career, and a lot of athletes fall victim to this. It's like, yo, I want to be talked about on ESPN. I want the following. I want the brand deals. So when your game isn't big enough, you start doing other things, and you can get out of character, and you turn into a character. Remember moments I'm sitting there, on a Saturday night or a Saturday afternoon after a walkthrough, and I'm freaking trying to figure out like how to dance and do certain things. I'm sitting there for an hour, 2 hours trying to figure out, okay, when I score a touchdown, what am I going to do? What's my celebration? Because you saw Ocho Cinco and the Terrell Owens doing that. And I was trying to figure it out. Never end up celebrating, never could figure it out. But you get in your head as an athlete. Where Dillon really loses me as a competitor, and this is where it becomes disrespectful, is when you go after legends. Like, you can do that, but like you say, you really have to back it up. But man, like, there is a disrespect. There's almost like a code, and you're breaking the code. You don't go out there and say, I don't respect. If you don't drop 40 on me, I don't respect you. Come on, bro. LeBron James has been in the league 20 years. This is LeBron James, bro. He's not only one of the best basketball players, he's one of the best athletes ever. Okay? We're talking about top 10. Maybe even when it's all said and done, he's going to be top 5, up there with the Tiger Woods, the Serena Williams, the Tom Brady's of the world, the Muhammad Ali's of the world. It's just too disrespectful. And Draymond Green talked about it a little bit this past week, where he said there's a sense of entitlement. You know, this generation is a little bit different. I respect it because I want the action. I love what's going on in the NBA right now. And if I'm being honest, like that trash that the NBA put out in a regular season, and Ashley, you always laugh at me. I say the NBA doesn't get started until springtime, right? Late March, beginning of April is when the NBA starts for me. That product that they put out for months starting back in November, December, that's trash. I don't understand why people are watching that. They need to figure out a way to keep this going, this type of energy, the fights, the ejections, the banter, the back and forth, the intensity, Steve Kerr pulling out his hair when Steph Curry makes a mistake. I just talked about boxing being one of the best sporting events to go to live. But playoff NBA basketball, I don't know if there's something better to watch sitting at home, you know, in your man cave or in your theater. Like, I don't know if there's anything better. The NBA need to find a solution to that. Now, I know the money is TV deals, 80-something games, you got to have it. But, man, could we potentially go to 50-something games to keep this intensity up, put more on the line? I know they're trying that with the new collective bargaining agreement, Ashley. But I'm saying all that because I don't
know about all that. But what I'm saying is,
what do you mean you don't know about all that? Hold on, which part of it? Because I said a lot. Which
the
part?
50. I don't know if the 50. I don't know.
But just tell me this, Ashley. How do you get the intensity?
It's a long season. You're gonna have trials, and you're gonna have valleys, and you're gonna have peaks. That's just how it works. Like, not every week is gonna be exciting. Not every game is gonna be exciting. There are going to be matchups that suck. There are going to be matchups that are really great. No. It's just the course of an NBA season.
I want them to go hard. Can I get them to play defense? How do we get them to play defense?
Well, you remember they're considering that. No, I said, remember they're considering that in-season tournament, so that could probably help, you know, with what you're dealing with. You know.
But going back to Dillon Brooks for a second, since that's what we're focusing on, my issue is not with the trash talk. I'm somebody who likes trash talk. I'm not even mad that he went at LeBron. Like, LeBron's an active player. You should be able to go at active players. He's not going at Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? He's going at somebody who's actively playing the game. He's fair game until he retires. When he went at Carmelo Anthony, that was a different thing. It's like, why is Carmelo catching a stray? He's not even playing. But LeBron's an active player. You should be able to go at him. But you can't go at LeBron, calling him old and saying, oh, he's got to drop 40 on me. And then when you face him, not only does your team lose by 10, but you drop 7 points, Dillon. Like, for real? So that's my issue with him, is that he talks a lot. He wants to have this persona of being the bad guy, of the villain, of, oh, everybody hates me and I relish in the hate. I live in the darkness. What Bane say? You merely adapted the darkness. I was born into it. We get it. You're the bad guy. Say hello to the bad guy. I get it. I see you. But there comes a point where all of this and all of the tunnel walk antics and you cosplaying as a wrestler and all this stuff has to be backed up with productivity. And it seems like every single time you let your mouth write a check, your ass can never cash it. And that's your problem. So don't go ahead and point the finger at the media for making you the bad guy. You did this. So live in it. This is what you wanted. This is what you got.
Yep. Corey, are we talking about the nut punch, or do we talk about it now? I don't know if you have it later.
No, it's not later. So yeah, we could talk about this now. I mean,
okay. Corey, what did you think? Did you think it was intentional?
I didn't think so.
I don't know if people.
No. I'm on the side that didn't think it was intentional.
I don't think it's intentional. It takes a sick person to intentionally punch somebody in the nuts.
I mean, and if you look at the video of it, too, he's
hold on,
reaching,
time out.
he's
Let me
reaching for the
respond to
ball.
this. Sorry, Corey.
Huh?
Ashley just said it takes a sick person.
It does.
When I was playing basketball for the AAU basketball for the Atlanta Celtics, that's the dirtiest thing it's one of the dirtiest things you can do, but it was taught, right? It was just called like nut check. Like you can do.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Right, pause.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I'm working on my pause moments. That's a pause moment, but it doesn't take a sick person to do that. It happens all the time in sports, even in football. Corey, you know this. At the bottom of the pile, it's a fumble, it's a scrum.
Yeah, right.
People grabbing everything.
Yeah, but is it intentional though, or are you just
it's intentional.
Yeah, the way he's speaking on it, it's intentional. Yeah. But to Dillon Brooks' defense, I think he was anticipating a crossover. Braun went behind his back. It looked like he was reaching for the ball. That's how I feel about it. I don't know. But
yeah, I thought the NBA got it wrong. They shouldn't have ejected him.
Yeah.
They ended up getting it right by not suspending him, so that was good. But no, let it happen. That's what I was, talking about, speaking into, is like that intensity, playoff basketball. I wish we can watch this from the start to the finish of NBA season, because it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That product that they're putting out is trash. November to March.
Well, look, the series right now is 2-1 Lakers. Who y'all got winning tonight?
Lakers. I told Ashley this.
3-1?
Where are they playing?
Ashley gonna owe me she's gonna owe me an apology here in a couple of weeks.
Why?
I told her that the Lakers gonna put it on. I'm telling her.
No, you said they were gonna win the finals.
I didn't say win the finals. No, I did not.
You
I
said they were going to come out of the West. No, you said they were going to come out of the West.
That's a difference between saying
I don't think they're coming out of the West, but I never doubted that they could beat Memphis.
We shall see.
Your Knicks are playing pretty good basketball right now,
Ashley.
Ashley.
Are, baby.
Yeah, we're going to talk about them a little later, so let's hold that. But we're going to move on, right, to some more controversy in the NBA. So for our next tweet, we got a tweet from Bleacher Report. And in their tweet, they shared the news that the NBA is investigating Dejounte Murray's actions following a their Sunday Game 4 loss to the Celtics. It appeared that he intentionally bumped an official while he was exiting the court. We actually have a video of what happened. Let's take a look at it. I'd say that was a little uncalled for.
That's
what you think? Yeah, what you think, Ashley? What's up with that?
That's absolutely insane. I'm a Dejounte Murray fan. I've when we interviewed Steven Jackson for the first episode of the pod, we spoke about his interview that he did with him for All the Smoke, and he's been through a lot, and I appreciated his transparency in that conversation that they had, and I was really happy for him to get this trade to the Hawks and kind of get a resurgence. He wasn't always the happiest in San Antonio, but that's insane. Yeah. Like, you can't do that. Yeah. I mean, that was like borderline a chin check.
Right.
Like, I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if it was a bad call. I don't know, whatever. But he bumped him, and he clearly said something because the ref looked at him like... And then he was obviously upset because he was being held back. I mean, you can't do that. Yeah. Right, and maybe he thought, because the game was over, nobody was going to go ahead and see it, and it wasn't going to be a thing. Cameras are always on. People are always watching. Yep. Like, you got to be better than that. You cannot do that. That's uncalled for.
Yeah. I don't know the rules in the NBA, but in the NFL, if you touch a referee, if you sneeze on a referee, you're ejected, right? So they're investigating this. I don't know the rules, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's suspended, right? Like, things happen. It's playoff basketball. We're already competing at a high level. Now everything's on the line. Every call matters. Every play matters. So things like this is going to come up, right? We saw right before the playoffs 2 or 3 teams fighting amongst each other. So I'm not tripping on him making this mistake, but it is bad. Ashley's right. It is bad. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's suspended. And it's terrible because now you put your team in a worse position.
Yeah. It was, just, again, uncalled for. So That is it for Word on the Tweet. We'll, hit NBA a little bit later, but we're going to transition to the Daily Route, right? Hit some more bigger stories in sports. And I'd say, none really, aside from the draft, aren't too many stories as big as this, right? When we were gone, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts secured the bag. And when I say secured the bag, him and the Eagles agreed to terms on a 5-year, $255 million contract extension. Now, that contract makes Hurts the highest paid player in NFL history. The deal also includes $179.3 million guaranteed. So, and there's also a no trade clause in that deal as well. Brandon, Jalen Hurts, worthy of this contract?
You know what? Great job to his team. Yeah. Getting this done. I am surprised. I am. We're talking about a guy, that's, what is this? He just finished up year 3?
I believe so. Yeah, year 3.
3? A lot of times when you still get years left on your deal, you're going to enter into a team-friendly deal, right? Mm-hmm. They didn't do that. They said, this is our guy. He's the face of our franchise for years to come, and we're not going to play with him. So I am shocked that he got what he got, okay? And it sucks because I want to celebrate Jalen. I want to celebrate the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie getting it right. Howie is he just gets it. He's phenomenal. He can win Executive of the Year or General Manager of the Year every single year. He figures it out. Mm-hmm. The dude is nice, all right? But I can't really celebrate Jalen right now. It just makes me think about Lamar Jackson. Lamar didn't make it to a Super Bowl, but it's Lamar Jackson. No, Lamar Jackson, didn't have the year that Jalen just had, but he won an MVP a couple years ago. Yep. How do you get this wrong? Mm. And I think what they offered him was right around like $45 million a year, right? So you got Lamar Jackson sitting on one side of the table where they're offering him $45 million a year. And then you have Jalen finishing his 3rd year and getting 51. So it makes me wonder why Baltimore is playing. And it makes me think about Lamar Jackson. And I don't know. I'm still sitting on this. I don't know if this helps Lamar or hurts Lamar, right? Because you would think you can approach it this way. All right, it helps Lamar because if Jalen got 51, and I said this from the beginning, right? When a quarterback is up or he's negotiating a deal, all they look at is how do we reset the market? Okay, that's what Jalen did. That's what he was supposed to do if he didn't take a team-friendly deal. Yeah. So if he goes out there and get 51, does that mean Lamar should get 52, 50, 53 million? Right? Right. That's the game. That's how they all played it. The Tom Brady's of the world, Ben Roethlisberger, the Drew Breeses, the Aaron Rodgers, right? Who's up? What are we doing here? Yeah. But it can also hurt. It can also hurt Lamar as well because what Lamar is asking for is guaranteed money. That's what everybody's saying, right? Fully guaranteed. And Jalen didn't take that. So now it's okay, this is the benchmark. It's more about the guarantee. Jalen didn't get that. You're definitely not getting that. So we'll see how they play it. I know we're going to talk more about Lamar and OBJ later, but Ashley, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, Jalen getting this big deal and what that could potentially do to your Cowboys. Your Cowboys, you got to see Jalen for the next 10 years.
Okay. No, I'll be okay. I'm not surprised that they paid him. They're fresh off of a Super Bowl appearance. I kind of expected it to happen sooner rather than later. They're also an organization, to their credit, that seems to value their guy. And we talk about this all the time, when we speak about agents, or at least I've brought this point up. An agent can only negotiate what an organization sees your worth as. What I mean by that is they can't implement a worth that the organization doesn't see. The Eagles already see a worth in Jalen Hurts. It's there. He brought them to a Super Bowl. They're coming off an incredible season. They value him. So it was easy to play ball with them when it comes to the negotiating table. That's the complete opposite of what's going on in Baltimore. For whatever reason, the Ravens don't see the value in Lamar, which is what is holding up that process. Excuse me. In terms of what it does for Lamar, I don't know. And we had this conversation, Brandon. You and I texted when the news of Odell Beckham going to Baltimore happened, and obviously we'll dive into it more. We said, well, what does this mean for Lamar? They were in the club together. They were at Live. Lamar looked like he didn't want to be there. He looks like me in the club after like 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, it's time to go home.
You're right.
We did say, though, that it could be one or two things. It could just be, he's supporting a guy that he wanted there when, the circumstances were different and he hasn't changed his, mentality at all. Or you said, listen, this may be the game changer that they need to go ahead and pay Lamar what he wants, and maybe he'll get over it. I really don't know what that situation happens with that situation. I'm going to stand by what Lamar said. He requested a trade. To me, that means he wants out. And until he says otherwise, I'm sticking on that side of the argument.
Right. Ashley, there's too much on the line. And a lot of this is all of this is like public relations. It enters into that department, right? What he tweets, what he Instagrams, what he post OBJ signing, all of that matters. I don't think you go out there and celebrate with OBJ if you're not staying, right? So I don't know what's going on with Lamar and his camp and what Baltimore is now saying or not saying, but it seems like he's going to be in Baltimore, all right? And that's interesting to me because if I'm Lamar and I'm seeing what Jalen just got, I don't know how I go back on this non-exclusive tag making, I think it's like $32 million a year. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, like that just doesn't sit with me unless he's going to play the long game, right? And say, all right, well, then you have to franchise me again next year and we'll do this dance again. But that's too risky. So if I'm Lamar, I don't like that. And then another thing that's going to happen as well, don't forget, Corey, Ashley, that Joe Burrow, they're talking as well.
Right.
So what's going to happen with Joe Burrow? So if Jalen gets 51, what do you think Joe Burrow's going to get?
Right. Yeah, he might fall in that 52, 53 range.
This can actually be a good thing for Lamar for real.
Yeah.
Jalen reset the market. Joe Burrow's going to come and go above that.
Yeah.
Reset it again, right? And then I'm not saying he's going to be here, but you got Jared Goff. They're starting to have conversations with Detroit. Detroit said that we found our quarterback. This is the guy we want, right? Jared Goff, what is he going to get? I'm not saying he's definitely not going to get 50, 51, and I like Jared Goff. Respect him as a person and as a competitor, right? Been through some things. Mm-hmm. But if he's making 45, 46, 47, what is Lamar going to get, right? So,
but my question is if they're unwilling to pay him now,
yep,
what difference does it make what Joe Burrow ends up getting or what this quarterback ends up getting if the market continuously resets, and it's already been reset a few times since Lamar has been trying to get paid, and it still hasn't made a difference for the Baltimore Ravens. They still slapped him with the franchise tag.
Right.
They still are dragging their feet on giving him his money, giving him his contract. So what's to say that this time next year, if Lamar does go ahead and play on the franchise tag, let's say, God willing, has a healthy season, a successful season, what's to say when the market has been reset again this time next year that the Ravens aren't going to be like, you know what, we're good. We're going to see what else is that. Like, how do you even know that Lamar's basically playing Russian roulette at this point, and you're putting your faith in an organization that has already shown that they're basically like, Right.
Well, think about it. The conversation was around Deshaun Watson's contract.
Okay.
Well, we can't follow that.
Okay.
That's
well,
not
now
the market,
bring
right?
Jalen Hurts into the conversation.
Right. So the biggest thing that we have to pay attention to is the guarantee. Lamar wanting that. If that's the case, I don't know. I haven't talked to Lamar, don't know his team like that, like as far as like talk like that. But if it's the guarantee, then there's still going to be a big gap because Jalen didn't go out there and get a fully guaranteed contract. Joe Burrow can. Joe Burrow can demand that. Joe Burrow's him. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now you take away the Deshaun Watson contract. All right, y'all say that wasn't a fair deal. It's not the right deal. Cleveland Browns got desperate. Jalen Hurts. Are you guys going to use that as an excuse? Joe Burrow, are you going to use that as an excuse? You can't. That's the market. So the Baltimore Ravens, this whole movie is going to end here soon. They're going to have to make a decision because you also got to deal with just chemistry, the continuity. You got to deal with like, okay, how are we going to proceed as a franchise? You got a player, and if I'm Lamar, I'll be honest with you, I'm not showing up. I don't know what he's going to do. Yeah. But what kind of production are we going to get out of Lamar Jackson? An unhappy Lamar Jackson. Will he fight through, everything to give us his all? I wouldn't. Yeah. I wouldn't. You're not giving me your all. Why am I going to go out there and be the next RG3? Mm-hmm. No, I'm shutting it down. My knee hurt. My ankle hurt. No, just like he said, I got to do what's best for my family. And a lot of times we forget that. And there's a lot of fans out there, and there's former players as well to feel the same way. Well, be a team guy. It's team. Well, man, every time I'm walking around, whether it's here in Vegas, LA, New York, wherever I'm traveling, I run into some old players, and they limping, and they hurting. I don't see the Jets or the Green Bay Packers medical staff running behind them, helping them out. Now you got to live the rest of your life by yourself. So cool, yes, team, organization. I love all of that, but there comes a point where you have to separate the two, and you got to do what's best for you. Mm-hmm. And so if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm demanding what I'm demanding, and I may not move until I get what I want because he has all the leverage. Without Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh doesn't have a job. This team ain't even 500. Okay? Without Lamar Jackson this year, they're last in their division. I got Cleveland right there. I got Cincinnati. I got Pittsburgh, and then you got Cleveland. And it's going to be tough. So yeah, Lamar has the leverage.
Well, no, let's dive even further into this Lamar Jackson conversation, right? So what I found was a tweet on Twitter, right? So I want to take a look at that kind of to provide context with the situation. Now, this is a report per Michael Lombardi. So it was said that Lamar Jackson told the Ravens to acquire both Odell Beckham and DeAndre Hopkins, and then we could talk, right? It was quoted, then we can talk. Now, the Ravens told him that they couldn't afford both players, but they'd get one of them. And then as we know, it was about 2 Sundays ago, the Ravens ended up signing wide receiver Odell Beckham. What does that signing of Odell Beckham Jr. mean for Lamar Jackson in this situation, Brandon? Is that an indicator that, they're going to try and keep Lamar, there in Baltimore? Is this a good sign, would you say?
Absolutely. That's why I said that, right? Yeah. There's no way with everything on the line and you taking the stance that you've taken this offseason or over the last year, OBJ gets signed. Now we are at Booby Trap, taking a picture, celebrating.
It was Live, not Booby Trap.
Oh, it was Live. Excuse me. Sorry. Live. It's all the same to me. Okay? Mm-hmm. Bunch of booties everywhere. Those stinky booties. It's out the club. Ain't nothing good in the club. But anyways, you don't do that, Ashley. You can't. There's no way. I don't even feel good. I can't even go back in the streets like that. Like, oh, man, you said this, but then you're doing that. So this is a big sign. This is a great sign for the Baltimore Ravens. But also, they should be able to afford both. Why not? Right. Go get D-Hop. It's a beautiful thing. You got 2 dogs out there they're going to get one-on-one coverage. You know what this will be? I'm telling you what this will look like offensively. It'll look like the Philadelphia Eagles. Running game, they're averaging 4.55 yards a carry. Okay, so you got to stack the box. And when you do that, guess what's happening on the outside? You got the Devontae Smiths, the A.J. Browns, one-on-one. And guess what they're throwing? Jump balls, back shoulders, slants, and hitches. That's it. Simple football. Simple. We don't got to get cute. This is in the best interest of the Baltimore Ravens. If the Baltimore Ravens want to be a contender again, they should go get D-Hop. It's a beautiful thing. Now Lamar can't do this. Lamar can't do that. Man, please. He can do all of that, but it makes it easier for him. To me, this is the best way to play football. We're going to run the ball, and then I got 3 guys. I got a tight end, and I got 2 wide receivers. Who do you want to double? What you going to do? Pick your poison. I drop back. Safety he want to favor OBJ side. I'm throwing to D-Hop. You want to favor D-Hop side? I'm throwing to OBJ. If you want to take those guys out, guess what I got? I got my tight end. This is modern football. You got to have 3 guys that can catch the ball, whether it's any combination, 3 wide receivers, 2 wide receivers and a tight end, 2 wide receivers and a running back, right? You got to have guys that can catch the ball on any given play, any given moment. So this is a beautiful thing, and they should go get D-Hop.
Yeah. Now, I got a question for you, Ashley. Do you think we'll see something? I mean, because we're stagnant right now with, contract talks for Lamar. Do you think something will happen before the draft, during the draft, after the draft? Like, how soon do you think we'll hear something from Lamar?
I don't think it'll be before. If anything, it'll be during or after.
Yeah.
What it will be, I don't know. I doubt that. I don't know. I'm honestly very confused about the situation. If that report is true about Lamar saying, get Odell and DeAndre and then we can talk, maybe he's had a change of heart. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm very confused.
A weird
I know, right? Like, we're out here speculating.
I'm so tired of overanalyzing the situation. I don't know anymore. I have no idea.
Something has to get done.
Yeah.
I mean, right. I think it's true. That report came out. You saw the pictures. I don't even think OBJ. Why would OBJ go there?
Right.
Go where? Oh.
Go to
Baltimore.
Knowing that he's on his way
Lamar's
out. Right?
And I can understand if it's just about the bread. If they offered
$18 million.
Yeah. I can get that. I can understand that. But man, go to Baltimore without Lamar there. They had to have that conversation. So I think this is a bright spot for the Baltimore Ravens, and there's something's going to happen. And if I'm Lamar, I'm actually waiting. I'm waiting for Joe Burrow to go. Go Joe. Let's get it done, even if it takes right before the season. Joe Burrow's deal might not get done, right? It could happen in training camp. I'm waiting. Joe Burrow's going to break the bank. We thought Patrick Mahomes broke the bank. Joey B going to break the bank. Mm-hmm. Come on. I'm waiting.
We shall see. All right, guys, moving on. NFL draft is finally here, right? We're only about 3 days away now. First day of the draft will be on Thursday night. So like I said earlier, what we're going to do is look at a few teams. We're going to start with, a couple divisions. Again, we're going to start with the AFC North today. And we're going to look at, their needs heading into day one. And then we're also kind of going to give you what we feel they should prioritize heading into day one. So if we take a look at it, Brandon, you could start first. You could start with the Browns if you like. Let's look at what they need and what you feel they should really target heading into day one.
All right, so I'm gonna follow your lead. All right, I'm gonna follow your lead. So you tell me what team you want me to go. You say you want me to start with the Browns.
Yeah,
okay. So
right.
With the Browns, I'm going D-line. All right, I'm gonna go anybody that can disrupt on the front end, whether it's defensive tackle or if it's defensive end. Right, you have something solid brewing on the offensive side. You're going to be better there because now your quarterback is going to be more comfortable. He's not, dealing with the situation that, the team dealt with last year with all the things off the field. You have Myles Garrett. That's why I say that. To me, that is the formula on the defensive side. You invest in 2 dogs. You're seeing it with the 49ers. You're seeing it with the Chargers. If you have 2 guys that can get after the quarterback, man, it makes everybody's job easier. It's all even with Philly, right? Guys got exposed. We had this conversation with Deebo Samuels at the Super Bowl, right? As far as what was it, Bradbury? He's like, is this corner really that good? Yeah. You know, there's a lot of action out there if you really want to get after if that D-line don't get to the quarterback, right? I saw this when I was playing against the San Diego Chargers when they were in San Diego. Man, they had Phillips, they had Lights Out, they had this other D tackle, they were deep, and you had corners just sitting there. Mm-hmm. They ain't have to backpedal. Guys had 2 seconds to get the ball off. So Cleveland should go D-line. They should give Myles Garrett the help that he deserves and he needs, and watch what happens. So I'm going to go D-line there.
Got you. Ashley, what you think?
I'm going to let Brandon take the helm on this one. My voice needs a rest anyway.
That sounds fair. Well, all right, we were just talking about the Baltimore
I know what
Ravens.
the Ravens need, though. Yeah. They need a blank check to get to their quarterback. That's what they need. I can do that one.
Certainly. All right, so Ravens, right? They, at the top of their needs is wide receiver, O-line, edge. What do you think they should prioritize?
You listen, when you think about the Baltimore Ravens, and a lot of times when I think about when we go through these different exercises, I look at the philosophy of an organization or what made these organizations great, okay? Pittsburgh Steelers, 3-4, zone blitz type defense and running the ball. Baltimore Ravens defense, okay? Now you have Lamar, got to build around Lamar, but I think they're solid when it comes to O-line. They're good enough. They added OBJ. I think they can add another veteran wide receiver. I would love to see D-Hop there, but in the draft, I'm going corner. You lose Marcus Peters, so now you're sitting here like, okay, how do we stop whatever anybody throw at us? I'm going to go get a playmaker. I'll even take a playmaker at safety. But if you can add something to the secondary, I think that will take this team to a whole nother level because they struggled at times last year. They gave up a lot on the backside of things. So go out there and find you a nice, solid corner. And there's some talented dudes in this draft. And I got to be honest with y'all. If y'all come in here for some type of draft analysis, I'm not that guy. I'm not sitting there watching hours of film on college kids. I don't give a damn if you're a Heisman Trophy winner. I still don't believe in you. I don't believe in any college player until they step foot into an NFL organization. And you got to show me not only in practice, you got to show me in games. And it might take – I need to see it for 2 years. So I don't believe in no college guy. Because you never know. Sometimes these dudes have phenomenal college careers and they get to the league and they just can't put it together. Like, how do you do that in a Power 5 and then you get here and you can't get off a jam or you can't even put a finger on the quarterback? Like, what are we doing here? Right. These same dudes. They're just a little bit older. That's it. Yeah. They stronger actually in college, for real. That's the last time you lift weights like that. You know that, Corey. Eating weights in college. So, anyways, I'll stop my rant here, but I'm going corner there.
Got you. All right. Well, so now we got the Bengals. They're looking at safeties. They're looking at edge rushers, and they also got to prioritize protecting their franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow. So, what do you think they should prioritize heading into this draft?
Right. So. Every team has a board, right? And so they have their needs there. I'm looking at the best player on the board here because you have Joe Burrow. Yeah. Joe Burrow came out last year and was like, man, I don't care. Like, everybody's talking about his O-line. He was like, man, I don't care about O-line. I'll make them look good. And that's what happens when you have a playmaker like that. Even Tom Brady, like when you got a quarterback like that, man, They find a way. They get it done. Yep. If I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm taking the best player on the board. Now, I would like a playmaker. Okay, that could be at running back. That could be at safety. That could be at corner. They do need help there. They lost Bates, right? So, I don't know if they had depth. They got somebody young there in the stable, but they need to replace him. That's a big loss for them. But playmaker, you got Joe Burrow.
All right. So
I will say this about the Bengals, though. The next piece that they do add is going to be the piece that takes them to the Super Bowl because they are a couple pieces. They're just a piece or two away.
Yeah, if they draft correctly.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. No,
it's so hard, though, Ashley. I hear what you're saying, and we always say that. But, man, you could have a solid team, great coaches, all of that, and then your quarterback goes down.
Well, let's not wish that.
Hey, let's not –
I'm just saying. I'm not talking about Joe Burrow. I'm not talking about any guy because I don't wish that on nobody. But that's the reality. This is a war of attrition. Yeah. You know, it's inevitable for a guy to go down. If you are in the NFL, injury rate is 100%. So it's just tough at times. Man, so deflating when you know you're that good and you are a piece or two away and then something happens. So, anyways,
that's why
we don't wish it on anybody, but that is the truth.
That's why this week is super important, right? NFL draft. All right, last team of the AFC North. We got the Steelers. Right now, heading into the draft, their priorities: cornerback, safety, offensive tackle. What you think, Brandon?
What do you have there? You have cornerback, safety, and tackle. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you go with corner.
Yeah,
Patrick Peterson, he gives you experience and he still can make big plays. He is older. He's not in his prime anymore, but the dude can turn the ball over. So I like Pat P in that zone blitz defense, but you need to go corner.
Yeah, and just get somebody opposite of him.
You already have that D line. Front seven is solid. Go get some help on the back end.
Yeah, and I'm honestly surprised safety's even, up there, right? With Minkah Fitzpatrick. And now, of course, you got to have another safety and whatnot. So that's probably why they're addressing that safety.
You can go O-line, but it's just hard. I just don't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been doing the same thing for 30 years.
Yeah.
We're going to play really good defense, and we're going to run the ball. Even when they had Big Ben. That's why when Big Ben came out a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think we were on air, Big Ben wanted to talk about Lamar Jackson. Like, he doesn't threaten anybody when he's in the pocket. Big Ben, it was you too. Big Ben wasn't threading nobody up or dicing nobody up in the pocket.
Right.
Big Ben, what made Big Ben dangerous was like, he be in the pocket.
Yeah.
And he didn't get his hands on them, and he found a way to break that tackle and get outside and still get creative. Antonio Brown, even when he had Antonio Brown, it wasn't everything on schedule. It was, Big Ben got out of the pocket, and then now Antonio Brown broke off his route. He went from a 20-yard in cut to a corner route, and now it's a touchdown. It's a big play, right? So the Pittsburgh Steelers do the same thing. And so I say all that because, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually double down on the offensive line. They've been struggling since Pouncey left, right?
Yeah.
They were really good up front, and now they like hit or miss. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go O-line here as well.
We shall see. All right, so we're going to transition to the AFC South now. So let's take a look at, because of course I want to go from left to right. Let's take a look at what we got. So we got the Titans first, right? So right now they got wide receiver, cornerback, and quarterback on the top of their board. What do you think they should prioritize?
So Rand was with the 49ers last year. Rand is the general manager for the Tennessee Titans. Just got that gig a couple of months ago, right? He's solid. He's one of the best in the business. He knows ball players. He knows ball. He actually played in the NFL as well. Went to the University of Florida, so he's been around big-time football his entire life. His father is is a scout and an exec in the league before he retired. They come from that Bill Parcells tree. I say all that because Bill Parcells, his philosophy is built the team inside out. Okay. So I think what Rand does here, and I think they let their left tackle go, or they moved on from him. I think he goes offensive line here. Ryan Tannehill, a lot of people, there's some people that love him or like him. Some people hate him. I think Ryan Tannehill is a solid quarterback. I think he can get it done. And you also drafted a quarterback last year that they like. You still have the king back there, and there's a lot of talk around him being traded. I can see that happening, right? Because it's going to come a time. I think he's in year 6, year 7. How long can he carry the load like this? So while he's still valuable, you can still get a few pieces and build around your team. So I can see him doing that. But if you really want to help out that young quarterback, even Ryan Tannehill, you got to be able to protect your number one asset. That's your quarterback, and then also keep that running game going, because that is the strength of your team, right? So I think they go offensive line here.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me, I think they need some receivers. I mean, ever since they got rid of A.J. Brown, it's just like, all right, so who's going to be catching these passes? But we'll see. We'll see what they do there. All right, next team. I believe our next team was the Colts. Yep. So we got the Colts. They at the top of their board, they got quarterback, tight end, and cornerback. What you think, Brandon? Indianapolis
quarterback.
Colts? Yeah.
Quarterback for sure. That's been the talk. They got to get this done. I feel so bad for Chris Ballard, the general manager there. I was with him in Chicago. When he got that gig, remember he had Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck retired in camp. Remember that moment? You know, walking off the field, practice, and being booed after he said, I'm retiring. Then they bring in 2 quarterbacks, whether Phillip Rivers and then Carson Wentz. They took a shot at Carson Wentz. Frank thought that he could save him. He had him during his MVP campaign, 2018. That didn't work out. So they just have bad luck at the quarterback position. And so I see them getting it done this year. They get their guy at the quarterback position. They have to.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely need to be a priority. All right, next we got, I believe it's the Texans. Yep, we got the Texans. So right now they're looking at quarterback, wide receiver, and edge. I can probably almost predict your answer here. But what do you think they should prioritize?
All right, what's my answer?
I'd say quarterback.
No, bro.
No? You don't think they need to get a quarterback in this year's draft?
How many positions are on the field?
11. Well, I mean, if we, on one side of the ball, 11 on the other.
So 22?
Yes.
But you can also go special teams as well, right?
You're right.
But let's just go
additional 11.
Specialists. You don't have to go like L3, L4, gunner, jammer. You don't have to do all of that. They need everything. They need everything, Corey. Just put everything at the bottom. Right? Bring a quarterback in. He's going to be just like Carr. Carr, they drafted him. He got his head pounded. They need everything. They lose their receiver. Man, they need everything, bro. So I'm going to move on from them. What the hell is going on with the Houston? And there's talk that their general manager, after the draft, he's going to step down. He come from the New England Patriots. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I just think this organization is just a mess. Yeah, it's a mess, bro. It's a mess.
Yeah, hopefully they could turn it around. But all right, last team in the AFC South, we got the Jags. Right now they're looking at cornerbacks, safeties, and edge rushers. What do you think they should prioritize?
Playmaker. I think they go. With the best player on the board. That could be anyone. So look at your top 30, your top 40, and whoever's available at that time. You go there. They're a solid team. They were probably one of the hottest teams second half of last year. I think Trevor found a way to turn it around. Obviously, that coach contributed big time to that. I really like this team. This is going to be a dangerous team. Yeah. This could be a team like the Cincinnati Bengals a couple years ago, right? I truly believe that. So I just think you go out there and you get a playmaker. You need somebody who can turn the ball over, whether that's a corner, that's a safety. Who's that Jalen? You need a defensive end that can or a defensive tackle that could really put pressure on the quarterback. So much of our game now is drop back pass, and we're spreading the ball out. So you need to be able to have someone on the defensive line that can really get after it. And you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with protecting your number one asset, and that's your quarterback. So even offensive line there as well. But I think playmaker, I think they're just like the Cincinnati Bengals. Who's available? Who's the best player available?
Yeah. All righty. All right, so that'd be it for the daily round. What we're going to do now is transition to fact or foolish. So if you guys remember, in this segment, I'm going to read a statement for these two. They're going to determine whether it's fact or foolish, but they have to give their explanation why. So to start us off, Ashley, I'm going to go with you first.
Okay.
Miami Dolphins will have the best wide receiver core in the NFL next season. Fact or foolish? And consider, they added a little bit of depth in signing our guy Robbie Anderson during our little break. So fact or foolish? What you think?
The best?
Already have Tyreek Hill. Already have Jalen Waddle.
I don't know if I'd say the best, but I'll say the fastest.
Okay, that's fair.
So I'm gonna
for real.
Yeah, I'm gonna say foolish for the best, but I'm gonna say fact if we say the fastest.
That's fair, Brandon.
Can we clip this? And I'm just trying to, I like to get messy a little bit. Make sure we clip this. Tyreek's a buddy. I really like Tyreek Hill. But I want to see Tyreek Hill and Robbie Anderson race. He might not be the fastest on his team anymore. Ashley, you're so right. They're definitely going to be. What you mean, what?
You think Robbie's faster than Tyreek?
He's a jet.
No, Robbie's fast.
He is fast.
His name's Chosen now, by the way.
I was just getting ready to
We got to call him Chosen.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes. I don't know if he's faster than Tyreek, though.
I'm putting my money on Robbie Anderson.
Okay.
That is a fast receiving.
I want to see it, Tyreek.
That's a fast.
And no disrespect to Waddle, because Waddle fly too.
Yeah.
Waddle fly too.
Yeah.
Listen, so definitely Ashley's right. They are the fastest receiving court in the league, but they're also the best. Like, I really believe in Robbie Anderson. Like, Robbie in the right situation can go.
Yeah.
Robbie was a rookie when I was with the Jets. Okay, so I played 2 years with Robbie, I believe. And when I say a dog, I mean a dog, right? And I think this is a really good position for him, right? When he was with me and Eric Decker and he had other guys around him and he didn't have to be the guy, his talent really showed up. I think over the last 3 years, Robbie's been trying to find a way to break through. He understands, the talent that he possesses. He's really been trying to unlock that, and it's been really difficult for him. I like Robbie in this situation. This dude is like,
me too.
He's thin.
He's back home.
He's thin, but he's tall. Like, when you see him, you're like, oh damn, I didn't know you were this tall.
Right.
And
he can fly. And the thing that I love the most about Robbie Anderson, he's a dog. And when I say dog, I'm talking about heart, like crazy heart. He plays like he's Calvin Johnson.
Right.
Go back and turn on the film. Talk about jump balls, tracking the ball, going across the middle, taking hits. You'd be like, dang, Robbie's so frail. How does he play like that?
Yeah.
He is a dog. So I like this situation. I think the Miami Dolphins have the best receiving group in the NFL, but there is some competition out there. But it's tough when you have Waddle, you have Robbie Anderson, and you have Tyreek.
And he's a really nice guy. I remember his fiance Sade is a good friend of mine, and Robbie actually did the first episode of Laces Out when I was at Sports Illustrated, my show at SI. He did the first ever episode. Didn't know, like, the show didn't gain any traction. Nobody knew what it was, whatever. Had us in his house and showed us his closet and all that stuff. And he's just a really good guy. So I'm really excited for him to be home and around family and familiarity, and I think it's going to be great for him. So congratulations. They're still not the best, but they're the fastest.
Hey,
I need to look at that tomorrow. I'm gonna look at that, Corey. I need to look at the other receiving groups out there and who can compete. You have Philly. We'll wait. We'll do it another show. But you got some groups out there. But I see 2 strong guys, not 3.
All right, now for our next one, Brandon, you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. Guys, the New York Giants extend Saquon Barkley before offseason ends. Fact or foolish? Brandon, I'll start with you.
Foolish. Just they should, but the receiving, the running back market, I don't think will ever be the same. You have to, and he is special. He had a great bounce back year. He could have won comeback player of the year. Obviously, Geno won it. But, man, I'm telling you, when you get around year 5, year 6, years, not even 7, it's a wrap. But 5, 6, they look at you differently, right? Yep. You really only have one opportunity to get to the bag when you're a running back. They don't want to go out there and pay Saquon $15, $20 million, whatever he's asking for, whatever King is getting, which I think he even took a little team-friendly deal. I don't think it's going to get done. But I do know that, and I always say there's always one team in a holding pattern. They're just waiting. And I do know of one team that's ready to trade for Saquon Barkley and give him what he wants. But Mr. Mara doesn't want to give him up. And I say this to the Giants and Mr. Mara, like, that's not good business. This young man has one opportunity to do what y'all are doing, create generational wealth. If you don't want to pay him, let somebody else pay him. That's not fair. It's not right. And I don't even know if it, and this is what we don't understand. Like, now you expect the guy to walk back into your organization and be the rabbit. He makes everything goes. When OBJ left, they didn't miss a beat because Saquon was that guy in the locker room. And then also he doesn't get in any trouble. He shows up to all the charity events. He's a great Samaritan. Like, take care of your people. If you don't want to take care of them and somebody's willing to do it, let it happen. Sometimes it's like that. It's like, you know what? I hate to see you leave. I hate it. But this was best for you because I respect what you have done for us. Respect it. Let him go. Let Saquon go.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this, or at least I've spoken about this often. I think, first of all, they say the average career of a running back, I want to say, is like 7 years, maybe, or 5 to 7 years. Yeah. And I think that there was a time in the NFL where running backs were kind of, you know, the most prioritized outside of the quarterback position on the offense because of a lot of the success of the Dallas Cowboys. They kind of started that trend of, you know, the run-heavy offense, you know, which is why they used to invest so much in that offensive line because it gave their running back those holes to run through, right? I think a lot of teams saw the success that it brought them, you know, in wins and things like that, and they copied that. Yeah. But I think now that the league is changing back into more pass-heavy, the running back, unless you have a running back that's a dual position running back, you look at like an Austin Eckler or even a Tony Pollard, who can go ahead and be a hybrid between a running back and a wide receiver, a traditional running back who's just kind of that workhorse, i.e. Ezekiel Elliott, is kind of falling to the wayside of a necessity. So while you want it on your team because you don't want to have to rely only consistently on the pass game, it's not something that you're going to go ahead and invest just a substantial amount of money in. And I don't think we'll ever see an Ezekiel Elliott type contract for a running back for a very long time. The league has changed. It's unfortunate. But I think that window for these guys to make that money, if they're not that hybrid position, has passed. And I don't know if the Giants are going to be willing to kind of go against the grain with that. I think that they kind of see that trend. I think a lot of teams across the league see that trend. And I think that it's here to stay, unfortunately. So,
can I say this to all the youth football players out there and the parents that may see this little clip? I don't care if it's 500 parents. If your kid wakes up and says, "I want to play running back," just slap them in the head.
I'm crying.
This is son. That's what we're not doing.
Like, I know, like, if don't grow up playing running back. I grew up playing running back. That was the thing. Ashley was right. We grew up seeing everybody wanted to wear 22 or 20 because you had Emmitt Smith, you had Barry Sanders. That was the thing. Times has changed and will never go back. Right? Why? Because it's about business, it's about money. What sells tickets? It's scoring. It's high-scoring games. People want to see the gritty. They want to see Justin Jeffersons, the Stephon Diggs, the OBJs of the world. Okay? If you're a running back, switch your position. Go play safety, try to play linebacker. If you're a once-in-a-generational type talent, then yes, you can play running back, right? But you better be certain that that's what it is because there's no respect for the running back anymore. I mean, you can go back the last 5-6 years. Look how tough it's been for our league's greatest running backs to get the deal that a lot of us feel like they deserve.
Or you don't have to be a traditional running back.
No, Ashley, don't force it.
I mean, you look at if you're a running back who can also play receiver and you're not built like a traditional stocky, you know, Ezekiel Elliott or even a Saquon, if you're more lean and agile like a Tony Pollard or an Austin Eckler, there's a space for you. That's something that's something that will still be relevant in the game. But that traditional running back where you're just a workhorse and you're just pounding and that's not existent anymore. So if you're that type of running back, I agree. Play a different position. But if you can be a more athletic type of running back who can run routes, who's fast, who can go ahead and catch passes,
But why not just be a slot? Yeah, why not go be?
I mean, I guess.
My kid right now, like, listen, man, I wish my boys would come in my room and say, Daddy, I want to play running back. Boy, please. Because, like, you can go out there, Ashley, and, like, you say, like, the build, the physique of a Pollard or McCaffrey. Learn how to run routes in the slot. That's what you are. Be a slot receiver.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but, like, man, it's too much disrespect being thrown at the running back these days.
Yep. All right, moving on, guys. Now, former Bengals quarterback Carson Palmer said recently that he believes Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL. And I actually have a quote here from him. He said on the Quarterback Room podcast, "I think Joe is the best quarterback in the league. I know Patrick is phenomenal, but I just think Joe's more consistent. He's more accountable to the run system and the play that's called, and not feel like, well, he didn't win last time and get open for me, so I'm going to do it with my feet. And then before you know it, you're sacked for a 4-yard loss because you tried to make 2 or 3 guys miss." And then he also added, too, that he feels Joe has no weaknesses. So my question to you guys, fact or foolish, Joe Burrow is more consistent than Patrick Mahomes. Brandon, what you think on that one?
I'm going to go foolish here. Again, I love Joe Burrow, spoke highly of him all show, and he's that guy. But what is it, year 3 for him? Just finished up year 3?
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes been doing it longer, has 2 Super Bowls, and he is challenging Aaron Rodgers as the best thrower of the football. And he makes plays. He's a winner. And not only that, we also see him overcome everything. Has a high ankle sprain. He's hobbling out there, still making plays. He actually plays better. You understand? So, look, one might be more consistent, but when you talk about making plays and getting it done, how can you argue that Patrick Mahomes isn't the greatest right now? Not ever, but right now. Mm-hmm. Come on. So it's to me, it's a little too early. And Patrick Mahomes is coming off a Super Bowl, Ashley. So I'm gonna ride with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, what's more consistent than Super Bowls?
Right, he's up 2-0 right now.
You know what I mean? Like I get what he's I get what he's saying, I get what he's implying, but men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And last time I checked, Patrick Mahomes had 2 of them. So consistent. I mean, yeah, but I feel you, but no.
It ain't. But he ain't far off.
He's
though.
not. He's not.
Yeah, he ain't far off. Joe's like that now.
Yeah.
Joe's like that.
But of course, there was just some bias in that statement. Considering he's a former Bengals quarterback.
No, but I don't think that. Not with Palmer.
No,
the Palmers ain't like that. No, they keep it real.
Okay.
I can see aspects in which he's more consistent. I'm not negating what he's saying. In some regard, there's truth there, but you can't say that he's a better quarterback than a 2-time Super Bowl winner. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think the opposite. I think you can argue maybe that he could be a better quarterback, but to say he's more consistent, that's where he threw me off.
How are you better than me if I have 2 Super Bowls?
That's yeah. Well, I guess if you look
MVPs.
at the intangibles of a quarterback, you know what I'm saying? But to say he's more consistent, no, I think Patrick Mahomes been consistent.
All right, so let's do this. So let's do this really quickly. Corey, you're a general manager of the Corey Renegades.
Mm-hmm. Not the Corey Renegades. That's an XFL team.
Right.
All right, who are you taking with the number 1 overall pick? Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow?
Yeah, that's not an easy decision for me,
Bruh, come on, bruh.
Yo, I don't know. Because look, this is what immediately comes to mind.
Okay, wait. Is the current situation of the Chiefs what you're taking each quarterback in, or is it to the? So what I'm saying is the situation.
It's pick up. It's pick up. It don't matter what the situation is. Just like we out there, we on the blacktop.
Brandon, look.
Your first pick.
As a
receiver,
receiver,
build around this one person.
Because as a receiver, I was a receiver, you as a receiver, when it comes to picking your quarterback, and I don't know, I mean, maybe this was just me as a receiver, I'm looking at everything, how he delivers the ball, how the ball looks like when it comes off of his hand, is he always throwing tight spirals? I'm thinking of Joe Burrow, you know what I'm saying? When I'm listening to all of those things. Now, granted, Patrick Mahomes, he's just like you said, he's a great thrower of the football. He's going where he places the ball is going to be great. But I do think Joe Burrow can even up this score here in the next couple of years.
Bro, who are you going with, bro? Just pick
Joe Burrow.
You going Joe?
No, you're not.
I think I might go Joe Burrow.
This is the equivalent. This is the equivalent.
I think I really might go Joe Burrow. Joe Shiesty.
This is the equivalent of when Max Kellerman looked into the camera and says, "I want Iguodala." This is exactly what the equivalent is.
No, it ain't. It ain't that bad. No, it's not.
I'm just kidding. I'm not taking it. You're taking him over Patrick Mahomes.
I think sometimes Patrick Mahomes' antics can get a little, like, it can be a little too much.
He's won 2 Super Bowls. What are you talking about? His antics. I don't give a damn about his antics. He's a winner.
Yeah, like he's nice and all, but Joe, wow, it's like I'm contradicting all of the words that I almost just said, right?
It's tough. It's
I'm really
tough
sitting
one,
here
though.
thinking about it, but
I'm glad I asked you the question you didn't ask me.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I'm not answering.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Move on. Next tweet.
Yeah, for real. We might as well go on to the next one. Well, we're gonna stay on the conversation of quarterbacks for the next one. So really, for like months, leading up to the draft, it's been kind of the understanding that C.J. Stroud was going to be the number 1 quarterback and be the number 1 pick in the draft. But as of late, things are starting to change, right? We're starting to hear Bryce Young's name come up more and more as the first quarterback to be selected. So the statement is, guys, Panthers draft Bryce Young instead of C.J. Stroud. Fact or foolish?
Whew. I got to be honest with y'all. Got to keep it real. I keep telling y'all this. I don't watch college football like this. I don't know. Who cares? I got to be honest. We need to bring on a college football expert, right? I think they're both great. But again, I need to see them in an NFL uniform, NFL locker room, NFL huddle. You know what I mean? So I can't really answer this.
Who do you think makes more sense with the Panthers, though? You don't think there's probably one that makes more sense with the Panthers?
The Panthers. I'll go with Bryce Young. Yeah. I like Bryce Young. Okay. I like both of them, but Bryce Young.
Right. What you got, Ashley?
I'm gonna go Bryce Young. That's what I've been riding with. I'm gonna stick with that.
Bryce Young. Yeah, we'll see on
pedigree,
Thursday.
Man.
Yeah.
Something about that system.
Right. All right, next one, guys. We were talking about him a little bit earlier. DeAndre Hopkins, right? DeAndre Hopkins gets traded to the Buffalo Bills. Fact or foolish?
That would be great for them if he did, but I'm gonna go foolish.
Foolish?
Yeah.
Where do we think he ends up?
Dallas.
Putting out that good energy.
Give me everyone in Dallas.
Listen, I would like to see D-Hop in Baltimore. I would like to see D-Hop in Dallas. So, because of my bias, I'm going to go foolish here. But this is a real possibility. This could absolutely happen. You got Josh Allen, you got Diggs. How much more time do you have left? Are they going to get after it? They're going to go for it. This could be really good. Because defensively, you lose Leslie Frazier. I say that because your strength is on your offensive side. Build around that guy, right?
Yeah.
So you can make this move and you could be dangerous.
Yep. All right, guys. So we're actually going to finish off with a little bit more of some NBA basketball. So the Denver Nuggets are the strongest looking team in this year's playoffs. Fact or foolish? Ashley, what you think?
Are the strongest looking team in this year's playoffs?
Strongest looking team in this year's playoffs.
Like
foolish
toughest to beat?
Yeah.
The Lakers.
No, foolish.
Foolish. Who you got?
Yeah. Boston looks really tough.
Yeah.
Philly. I was playing around when I said Lakers. I was playing around when I said the Lakers.
I mean, they swept Brooklyn. Let's be honest. Boston looks really tough. I mean, they're not the strongest, but I'd put Denver. Golden State can never sleep on them. My New York Knicks. I wouldn't say they're the strongest. I would definitely put them up there, though. They look good. But I just don't know how their game's gonna. I don't know. I'm not sold on it as it gets deeper into the playoffs. There's some things I'm questioning.
Right. Yeah.
I will say this. It's foolish for me. I'm really enjoying everything the NBA's throwing at us right now. All of it. The good, the bad, the ugly. Man, I wish we can bottle it up and find a way to throw this into the regular season. And we talked about this earlier. So there's even the teams that look terrible, I'm excited to watch. Like, it's been really fun, this NBA playoff. So excited to continue to watch it.
All right, guys, we got one more. The New York Knicks have been the biggest surprise of the playoffs so far. Fact or foolish? Ashley, I got to start with you.
Not a surprise to me. A surprise to y'all. I knew this. If you remember, I don't know if we have we have to find the clip in the archives, but I sat in this very seat with Stack on the show with us, and I said, do not be surprised if the Knicks go ahead and make this a series. And if this series goes 6 games or more. And everyone laughed at me and said, ha ha ha, the Knicks suck. They're gonna get swept. It's over in 4, it's over in 5. Now what? I knew what time it was. I don't know about y'all, but I knew what time it was, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, to me, this is more about the Cavs than it is the Knicks. Like, I'm just disappointed in the Cavs. I don't see any strain. I don't see any fight. Like, I'm shocked. Like, even have Donovan dropped 40 yet? 40 plus yet? I'm waiting. You know, that's my guy. Let me fix this. So I'm waiting. But I think it's more about the Cavs than it is the Knicks. But I am excited for the Knicks. They seem to be embracing the moment. The crowd is electric. It's also another fun series to watch. So I don't know what the question was, but I'm more disappointed in the Cavs. Corey.
I don't know where Corey went, but I'm here.
Well, that's it.
Is that
Vanderbilt.
it? We gonna close it out?
Ashley, we're back. What about that post yesterday? Before we close out the show, I felt like it was a little dramatic. And they were like, oh, my goodness, we're back. Everybody's been asked about where paper route. Didn't that feel a little dramatic?
No, I thought it was a nice little amount of dramatic. It was cute. I'm back. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
We're back. That's really what happened. We were supposed to take a week off. We ended up taking 2 because we had some star players on IR. We didn't have enough to compete. Ashley Nicole Moss was down with the flu.
Yeah, I couldn't have a flu game like Jordan. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you for opening up early in the show about your experience on the flight back, talking about anxiety and a panic attack. That was, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
then Corey was on the bench. Corey in the cut was Corey on the bench.
Corey on the scooter.
He tore his Achilles. I don't know if people know that. I don't know if he shared that. He had surgery last week. So right before he went to Dubai, he tore his Achilles playing basketball.
Yeah.
That's big. Is it nasty? Is his foot propped up in a studio?
No, he's on a little scooter.
Right. Hopefully he takes care of himself. That sucks.
And he just cut across my camera. You saw that? In his little scooter.
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, you didn't see it.
But anyways, guys, we really appreciate you guys joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 Eastern. You'll have Ashley Nicole Moss and Corey on the bench, not Corey in the cut, from the studio in Weston, Florida. I'm not sure where I'm going to be, guys. I don't know if I'm going to be here at Blue Wire Studios. So beautiful. It's one of the best studios I've ever been in. I mean, ESPN, FS1, even our studio, Brand Star Studio, some cool studios. This is dope. I really want to stay another day. Blue Wire team, can I stay another day? They're showing big love to us right now. If you're ever in the Wynn Hotel, you ever come to Vegas, walk by, you never know who you're going to see here. I think Ocho streamed live here. You had Waller and Plum and some legendary athletes come in here. But I could be in LA tomorrow as well at SiriusXM studio, but we'll see. Ashley, I'm glad that you're back. Corey, I'm glad that you are okay.
Starting the road to recovery now. We good.
Yep. Make sure you listen to the doctors.
Of course.
Ashley, go get an IV.
Yes.
Upstairs. Corey, go get some treatment upstairs. TB12 is right there at House of Athletes. So make sure you take advantage of the medical services that House of Athletes provide, okay? Because we need you, buddy. We can't. Allie will be so mad at us if we take another week off.
Nah, we ain't doing that.
All right. Love you guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Love you. Bye-bye.
See ya.